Thanks a lot for the warm welcome. And yeah, I try to blend in this outstanding panel of speakers. Thanks a lot for Casey. I will pick up where you left. I'm coming more from the strategic space. Spent 5 years in the reinsurance and direct insurance field, mostly in innovation strategy. And as an agile coach, I was running teams up to 20 people. Through board projects where we had like special mission. And yeah, we were kind of in one big topic. I hope you can see the slides. We were basically connected to the digital transformation. So every one of you who stays on insurance longer than me might know that the insurance products were a really big topic for a long time. So I just know it like the end of it more or less, but with a big sales infrastructure and lots of very product-related issues they are having. And today it's not anymore about only selling a product, but it's more about telling a story. So as Casey just mentioned, there are new products that are very situative. For instance, when you want to buy an insurance and you go down a parachute, you can buy an insurance with your phone at the step of the airplane. And this makes insurance a completely different company. And this transformation is done mostly, as I know, agile, at least in the German market, where I've been the last 5 years. And what I learned in these transformation, that there are basically 3 big steps that need to be overcome. First is onboarding the user as a new decision maker. So we do not have only the board anymore, but we also have the user we need to engage. Second, we have an agile process design. So process design is for us in the project phase really the key to overcome the hurdles, to also knowing how to deal with regulation, knowing how to deal with requirements that might not be obvious from the first moment on. And the last part is about the IT strategy, because most old companies are not really strong on the IT food, and they need to develop a new IT strategy. And I think this is a great panel also to address this point. So let us go through what do we have? We have, first of all, the user. I think this is a really key part, as mentioned before. We need to get an understanding, who are we selling something to? What is the context this person is in? And what are the key points for him to buy or not buy a product? So we basically need to really get close to this person. And what I learned also, especially from the teams getting to know the user, it is a great source of inspiration. So we get a really 360-degree perspective, be it B2B, B2C, also B2G, as to government. It is very good to get a really close, hands down to the person who buys your product. Also, when you do that while you're creating products and services, it is very easy to create a community. So this is a big asset when you start a product and you already have a community who likes your product and is using it. It will spread a lot easier, and also the whole online marketing goes a lot better at hand than when you start from the desert. Also, it is, for what I learned, it gives a lot of meaningful products and services for the teams. So when we work in product design teams and we realize there is a lot of technicians in there, or a lot of business people, they really enjoy to work with the user, because then they realize it's not about technology or it's not about making money. It's really about making a difference in people's lives. So what we realized, it is also really good for the organization to kind of go forward in this whole transformation, to really know what their users need and why their organization exists. Some people might have forgot, I learned. And on the other hand, of course, the user is not the answer to every question. Like there are kind of limitations and requirements connected to him. First, usability, something that goes beyond the ideation, like creating new ideas, is more how do you integrate in your user's life? How does an app has to look like? Is it an app, or is it a web space, or is it still good that a salesperson comes and explains something? So usability is usually a cost driver, but very important to scale in the market. Then the user is lacking of vision. So usually we learned that, especially when it comes to technology, users are not really good at designing new uses of technologies, meaning we need to be aware that they can tell us if they like something or if they don't like something. But sometimes when there are only horses and you come with the car, you need to be persistent, and you need to show your user how it works. And then you need to teach every user how to use a car to go on. So sometimes it's really important to have this in the back of your head. Also, of course, the user is not technology driven. He might not tell you how difficult something is to implement, and also non-business driven. So still these points need to be decided by the board or by the decision makers. And so it's very interesting to bring the user on top of everything, and also to know his limitations. Now let's get to the second point, requirement-driven process design. It is basically interesting because when I work with agile teams in a software environment where they learn agile in their education, it's pretty simple to run them agile. But when you are in a non-agile organization and you are responsible to implement agile, it is very difficult because you do not know how to do it, and nobody is telling you what you need to be aware of. So what we started was just evaluating all the requirements. Like in the beginning, we said, okay, we need to know what kind of requirements do we have. And for instance, when it's for an insurance product, there are a lot of statisticians, there are a lot of salespeople, there is a big law point. There are many people involved who need to work together really closely. I think we had over 12 different departments to coordinate, and we also wanted to reduce the time. Like we had 1.5 years for product implementation, and we wanted to reduce it to 6 months. So we had to be really, really ambitious there. And what we did, we started always with the requirements. We brought everyone together, and we started to go into sprint planning and trying to optimize every expertise to start there. And when we started to design processes that way, we realized there are 4 key factors we needed to achieve. First, we need to create a fail-safe process. You're not working long with an insurance when you're not fail-safe. That doesn't work. People do not have that mindset to try something out. So this is really important when you pitch a process there, that it must be kind of fail-safe. It should be fun. So the people, and Casey, you mentioned that also before, it might be a little dry here and there. And fun is a very important factor, bringing people together and create a big drive. So we realized also like warm-ups and fireside chats and all of these little gadgets left and right on the process are really a key to keep the performance in the teams. And also working stakeholder focused, meaning you have these 12 departments, you need to really engage them. If you don't take everyone with you, it will be really difficult in the end to launch a product, because each one of them is able to kill you in the end shortly before you launch, and you have to do another round with another stakeholder. And this is my favorite, to be honest, working data driven. So what I learned when I went to D-School is that this is kind of the rule a little bit. So you have technology, you have business, and you have the user, and you want to bring them together. And you do this in build, measure, learn cycles. So you build something, you test it with users, and then you kind of measure how well did you meet. But when I was working with insurance, I learned that it's more like this. You have more legal requirements because nobody wants to be sued. You have lots of strong solo opinions in big organizations. And really, I'm a board member who will tell you it has to be that way. And then you try it out, you build a prototype and you test it. And then you come back with the data and you show him, sorry, but the user says no. And they have to accept it then. So this is why I say data-driven is really important. And the last point is stakeholder communication. We really put a lot of thought into stakeholder communication, because working with so many stakeholders, it is enormously important that you keep them informed well and happy to support you, because you will need them in every step on the way. So this is basically the practitioner's view on this triangle. The discussion in the team is still tech, business, user, but when you go into organization, when you pitch for money, when you want to continue, when you want to be successful, it's more about the other 3 points. I learned it the hard way, and now it's fun having this on the plate. Coming to the last point, and that's IT strategy, and I think this is also great for ELEKS to consider, because it's something I really seen so many times. This is a quote of a board member who said, after ideation workshop, we had many ideas about blockchain, about AIs, about all different technologies. And he said, these are all great ideas, but we are salesmen, statisticians, and insurance specialists. Who will build all these products and services? So something, especially, I don't know so much about the US, but in Germany, education still lags behind exactly these key technologies. And when you look in the market, the war on talent is pretty steep. So when you start working with insurance, coming to IT strategy means to just create the environment to be able to work with these new technologies to create new business drivers. So we have a lot of regulatory issues coming along the way, especially when it gets to data protection or protection of privacy. It's not regulated so far what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. Or in Germany, it's just everything forbidden, and you need to find out how you can make it work in the long run. And this is addressed by the highest level. So the CEO of some companies I'm working with, they launched regularly articles to address this on a political level. And the discussion there is going really, I hope, faster and faster. And also with COVID-19 might be slowly coming in more a solution mindset than a problem mindset. So this is something really interesting, and there might be many opportunities as soon as the regulatory field comes along. Then the war on talent I mentioned before, and of course tech eligibility. And this is in two sides. Like first, the companies need to create it by themselves, like from the inside, to work in the cloud finally. Like they still have a lot of servers along the way, and they need to go to the cloud. So this is a long process, and I think it will take some years more to really put everything in the cloud. And also the integration to customer. So especially when it comes to online marketing, or how can we engage with people on Facebook? It's very difficult to explain a very old standing person, a lawyer who has been for like 40 years in the company to why we need Facebook now to be successful in the future. So that was kind of really interesting to also look how can we get the solution mindset on there, and where are the opportunity fields in this area. So coming to the end of this, I think for the agile transformation, and it is since I think 1, 2, 3 to 5 to 10 years, depending on the organization, it is already going, but still on the way. And we still need to finally get the user on board. Like for 100%, we need to think about more agile process design, and I think the requirements are a really good indicator for this. And I think IT strategy, this is where I see the most potential. They are still kind of weak in many areas there. At least as from what I know in Germany. And I think this is a great opportunity for all of us here. Thanks a lot